Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or even good after cup of tea. That one's for Joe. It's Lynn here again from the Learn English Network, and it's a nice sunny morning here in Germany, and it's not too hot, so you won't get that annoying rumbling sound there was last week. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't realise that the fan was a little bit too close to my desk, and every time it moved round, it was sort of hitting the microphone with a little whooshing sound, so if you did listen last week and you wondered what that noise was, it was just the fan. My number one fan. My only fan. Okay, so let's start. This is live chat, of course, and so I'd like to thank our sponsors. Teacher Karen from Live English Training, Cambridge Proofreading and Multilingua English Language School in Malta. Thank you guys. And it's been quite busy again on live chat, so let's have a look how it all started. I think last week we ended up with Ali, who is a web designer. Ali, you never got back to me on what you think of the new design of the website. Oh, which reminds me, a big thank you to Aladdin, who has been getting back to me on the new design and also telling me about broken links and botched jobs that I've managed to do. I always say when it comes to technology, I know just enough to get myself into real trouble, okay? And April and Ali had a nice little chat about our ESL drama session, which was a little bit confusing to Zeb because she was wondering who Joan Blandings is. She said, "Who is Joan Blandings?" And it's basically our drama session in Second Life, and everybody's taking a role from a very good play called Mr. Blanding's Dream House. Okay, we're kind of adapting it to Second Life, to ESL drama at the moment. So April and Aladdin are both taking part in that from time to time, and along with a few other LEN drama members. So I'm sorry if it confused you, Seb. And Aladdin quite rightly said he was Jim. He didn't play your mum, April. So Zeb did write about the play. Is Joan in her teenage? You wouldn't say that. Is Joan a teenager? Yeah? Or is Joan in her teens? That's what you would say there. And then you wrote, Zeb, if she is Aladdin, my hat off. No, you wouldn't say my hat off. You'd just say hats off for having picked one of the parents' characters. Yeah. So hats off to you. You wouldn't say my hat off to you. It's too literal. Yeah. It's just and it's an idiomatic expression, so it's always hats off, even though you've only got one hat. Okay. Don't you love English? And April admitted that she likes to play Joan because she can be so sarcastic. I think you use the drama sessions to get out everything that's not in your nature, April, yeah, because you're not a sarcastic person, well, not in my experience of you. So I think you're using drama as some kind of therapy. So then April started talking about one of her French sessions, because there are French sessions in Second Life. This is at Atlantis, which is a Second Life sim for language learning. It's more than just English. So if you happen to be a native speaker listening to this and you want to practice your German, or you want to practice your French or your Spanish, and I think there's other languages too, then get along to Second Life and find Atlantis. You can practice with other learners and native speakers, and English as well, of course. So April wrote, we almost sang a piece of the opera La Mouette de Portici yesterday. Zeb went, don't tell me you're singing in French! Exclamation mark question. It's always difficult, isn't it? You want to sound surprised, but it's also a question. You just end it with a question, yeah? But it is a difficult one. Can you use an exclamation mark and a question together? Yes, of course you can. Would you do it in a test? Probably best not to. Okay. And April admitted, we decided not to sing, Zeb. What a shame. The last time when they sang this in French, it unleashed the Belgian Revolution. Ooh, maybe that was a good choice. Zeb then wrote, who are they? And April replied, it was on the 25th of August 1830 when the famous French tenor Adolphe Nouret and friends sang Amour sacré de la patrie at the Théâtre de la Monnaie in Brussels. I never knew that. You see, you get a little history history lessons in this live chat. Zeb replied, sounds like he was not only an opera singer, but a politic as well. A politician. Yeah, when you're talking about it as a profession, he's into politics or he's a politician as well. What happened next? And April then said, you realise what will happen if I do? So, yeah, if she sings it, she could start a whole new revolution. Hey, vive la révolution! And April then said that she'd just finished off, she came in, I think it was after live chat last week, so I'll read this out. I've just finished our French session on Second Life with Annette and Emily. You know what? It was my turn to present the history of Belgium. I had a presentation about the beginning of the Belgian monarchy, and I did it quite well, I think. Okay, so when you're using Belgium as the country, yeah, Belgian, Belgian, is the adjective. So it's the Belgian monarchy, okay? The monarchy of Belgium or the Belgian monarchy. And then Zeb wrote, hi April, well done. Have you already experimented your French in Walloon, Belgium? So you don't experiment your French, you experiment with your French, okay? How did you get on? Hi Zeb, nice to see you again, replied April. Oh, it's tough, the French, Zeb. Okay, French is tough, Zeb. The French are tough would mean the French people are tough. I'm sure they are. But French, the language, is tough. Luckily, Annette and Poetria, aka Emilia, always tolerate my awful chatter. Tss, tss, replied Zeb. Nobody can say that it's awful if it's in French. Exactly, Zeb. This is what I always say to people. Yeah, just you're a learner. It's not awful French. It's French. It's all beautiful. It's not awful English. It's English. It's all great. French seems to be more demanding when it comes to articulate than English. It's true. People don't believe me, but it is true. Try Welsh. Wow. There's a Welsh channel on the BBC. Do have a listen and then be thankful you're learning English. A visitor from Australia is learning French here in Paris. Hey, great. What seems to hold him back is the pronunciation, but maybe he's just saying the price for his lazy, say relaxed Aussie speaking style. Yeah. It happens to Australians in Germany too, and somehow they don't care, which is good, because it means they don't bother too much, and if somebody misunderstands them, they just repeat it a bit more slowly and a bit more loudly. Eventually the message gets across. You know who I'm talking about, James, if you're listening. Hey, g'day, mate. Then April said, a friend of mine used to say, we need to do mouth gymnastic before starting speaking French. Okay, yeah, mouth exercises or mouth gymnastics, okay? And mouth gymnastic, replied Zeb. So again, mouth gymnastics. Isn't it the same as having a go at tongue twisters? Good point, Zeb. Do have a go at the tongue twisters on the website. Bahim said, hello everybody. And as I replied, hi Bahim, as I just explained in the live chat broadcast, if you aren't a Discuss member, your messages go into a queue for moderation. I will find you eventually, but it takes time. Yeah, so Discuss works that if you're a Discuss member, your messages go in automatically. If you're signing in using Google or Facebook, your messages go into a queue. So if you want your messages to appear a little quicker, it's not quite instantaneous, but yeah, it's free, so you've got to work with what you can get. Then it will go into moderation. Or it will, sorry, if you're a member, it will appear that little bit more quickly, okay? Constantine came along. Hi, Constantine. Constantine and I have talked in Google Hangouts. So, good morning, Lynn, he wrote. Morning, I wrote back. I'm not sure if he got my morning or not. And let's see. Then Constantine said, can anyone tell me her favourite English proverb, please? Good. English should be capitalised, Constantine, always, even if it's being used as an adjective, yeah? And your please is perfect, but you need the comma after proverb and then a space before you write please, okay? Aladdin replied, and he knows Constantine from Google Hangouts too. Hello, Kay. I'm very happy to see you here. I don't think that was your favourite proverb, though, was it, Aladdin? And then Constantine said, much obliged to you, Aladdin, and replied, a storehouse of the wisdom and the key to the national features understanding in any culture. Okay, I think you meant a storehouse of wisdom is the key to the national feature of understanding in any culture. Yeah. Yes, you do need to know a country's culture to understand its language sometimes. And it can even go back to childhood culture. What kind of programs did kids watch? The people you're talking to as adults watched programs as children. What were they? So if I said to you Rainbow Zippy Bungle, you should know what I mean. If you don't, you need to look into my childhood. Zeb then wrote, because of the weather pattern of these last days, I picked up this one. And I love this, Zeb. When the stars begin to huddle, the earth will soon become a puddle. I love it. I've never heard it before, but it's great. And as I wrote, a nice one, I've never heard it before. And Zeb wrote, nautical saying. Ah, very. Nautical means to do with the sea, to do with sailing. So I'm not a sailor, so that tells me a little bit about Zeb. Zeb's been to sea. I wonder what she saw. A sailor went to sea to see what she could see, and all that he could see was the bottom of the deep blue sea. Sorry, he couldn't resist. I do apologise. Then I wrote, hi Constantine, this went into the moderation queue. Aha! So one of my favourite sayings is, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Yeah, do you like that one? I love that one. So, and that kind of ended that conversation, so I don't know. I killed the conversation. I am a conversation killer. That comes up later as well. And then Constantine said, could you tell please, most commonly used English proverb? Okay, this one wasn't so good. There was no question mark at the end, and there's no me. So could you tell me, please, the most commonly used English proverb, English again capitalised? Edouard wrote, hi Edouard, this one is popular. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And I like that one because it's got the word hand in it. Of course, that's part of my name. And Zeb replied, what do they make of measured risks? Even if you don't get the two, you'll learn something along the way that could even worth more. So that could even be worth more. And Edouard wrote, this proverb has a Spanish version. Do you know it? Zeb replied, I put on my search engine hat and got this. Oh no, you do this deliberately. Miss val pajaro on mano que cien volando. Do you know what? I could have just read out something really rude. I'm not going to read any more non-English things, just in case. Zeb, I'm sure you wouldn't do that with me. Are you happy with it? Edouard wrote, yes, that's how you say it in Spanish, although it's more common with ciento than of cien. So, although ciento is more common than cien, do you understand it? And Zeb replied, does it say that 100 birds flying up there in the sky is not more than one you get prisoner in your hand? Edouard said, yep, something like that, though the meaning is figurative, as in the English version, of course. Zeb went, lol, Edouard, LOL, you are misleading me, aren't you? And Edouard wrote, no, why do you say that? She says that because... She says that because she can. Okay, you'll get used to Zeb. Zeb then wrote, there are no prisoners in this saying. Edouard replied, prisoner is not the best adjective for the bird at hand. It represents what is yours, what has been already earned or won. Zeb replied, do you agree with the saying? Edouard replied, it's a conservative saying. Sometimes I think like that. And Zeb replied, when? I want a story. So, Edouard, I love this. I'll tell you a story. I was grilling some arepas for my meal. As always, I had the opportunity to flip them like a boss. But for that is very difficult for me. Okay, but that is very difficult for me. Not a new question, not a new sentence, just a comma with the conjunction but. But that is very difficult for me. Full stop. I chose to flip them normally with the help of my hands. I'd like to see what else you could use. I was conservative there. If I tried to flip them like a ninja and failed, it would be a really great loss. Okay, failed shouldn't be capitalised. It's not the beginning of a sentence. Zeb then replied, oh, what a miss. It was an opportunity to feel like a ninja. You'll never get jiggy when you get in your 60s if you keep going like this. And Edouard replied, I do it every now and then. Wasting food is a serious thing. I agree. Zeb then got a bit confused. How old are you? That's a question mark, by the way. You sound like you've experienced starving or the war. Okay, you sound like you've experienced starvation or the war. And Edouard said, no, I just don't like wasting food. I'm 35 years old. if you ask. I'm 35 years old, if you ask me. Okay. Best to say I'm 35 years old if you're asking. Yeah. If you ask me is more figurative. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't do that if you ask me. I'm not asking you. Yeah. But if you're asking me is, well, if you are asking that question that I think you're asking me, that's the answer. Okay. Get it? It's a bit complicated, I know. Practice, that's what makes it perfect. Zeb then replied, hey, even if your arepas go on the floor, it's still edible, no? That's very French. It's still edible, isn't it? So, what the hell? 35 YOA. Ooh, years old. 35-year-old adult is YOA? I don't know. That's one I haven't seen before. Or not. You can do it. Edouard replied, the place in which I make them is more of a ground than of a floor. Yes, you can do it, but you need luck. It works 3 times out of 10, so I prefer not to try it. You wrote 3/10 of the times. No, you'd say it works 3/10. Yeah, that's fine, because I could read that 3 times out of 10. But of the times you wouldn't write after it. Yeah, so you could write it works 3 times out of 10. Okay, so I prefer not to try it. Zeb then said, you did your maths. I'm not going to argue with it. I hope, though, that you will flip arepas when there are kids around you. They will show you how to do it. And Edouard replied, children do a great job in showing you how to make a mess. Very true. For me, said Zeb, they're just learning by doing. How do you learn? What's your learning style? Aladdin then popped into this chat. It's Gangnam Style. Hey! I can't do it now. I use this style to learning, and please don't ask me how. Okay, so I use this style for learning. Please don't ask me how, full stop. It's not a question mark, okay? It's a statement. Don't ask me how. Even though it's using the word how, it's not a question. Yeah? The question has to be a question to be a question, and that is a statement. Zeb then rolled on the floor laughing. You're not fun if you prevent me from asking questions. But mate, I'll not buy it, because if your style is Gangnam Style, it means that you can't just imitate. Every one of us can do better than that. Aladdin said, thanks for advice. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, thanks for the advice. We always have the article. And Edouard read, I agree with you. And Zeb got annoyed. You agree with me? Ah! Okay, again. You agree with me? Exclamation mark, question mark. What's going on with this? Ah! It means that is the end of the conversation. Are you a conversation killer? Told you conversation killer was coming into this broadcast. And then Zeb went, can't you? Ooh, I'm not sure what that can't you was about, but that was the conversation killer, I'm afraid. Okay. Oh, and I also replied, now this is strange, this has gone out of sync, but I replied to Constantine as well. I don't think there's any particular one, which is the particular sort of famous English proverbs. There are so many, there's no one particular one. They go in and out of favour all the time. But I did say a very popular one is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And Zeb then said, let him think it then. And I replied, I don't agree with it, Zeb. Sam was an old dog, and he loved learning new tricks, especially if it meant treats. And as Zeb replied, motivation. Yeah, that can actually help you with your learning English. Give yourself little treats when you learn something new. Yeah, I learnt a new word today. I'll have a sweetie. Why not? It's motivation. Reward yourself. There's a whole thing about reward learning on the website. Read it. It's interesting. We got rewarded for saying mummy, daddy when we first started speaking, and our brains took note of that. So went, oh, people like us talking. Unfortunately, it didn't last long because, our parents spent our formative years getting us to speak and walk, and then our teachers spent the rest of our lives telling us to shut up and sit down. So walk around, speak, it's good for you. Mohammed and Mani then wrote hi, and then we had somebody called, let me see, there was another one from Constantine. Okay, Constantine then replied, thank you all for your answers. You're welcome, Constantine. Could someone tell a joke about the Scots? And I wrote a Scottish joke, a couple of Scottish jokes first, which you can read on the Chat page, okay, and I'll probably put them into the English jokes pages too, because they're quite good ones. But I'm not going to read it out because it requires a Scottish accent, and you'll all laugh at me. Then I think it was Zeb wrote, gosh, it's a bit hard to swallow in the morning. My Scottish culture is next to nil. Okay, my knowledge of Scottish culture is next to nil. I got that it's a reference to R. Burns, thanks Google. But what's the link with Tony Blair? There was no link with Tony Blair. It was just, if you're you just use somebody famous, somebody well known, stick their name in there. It could have been George W. Bush. It could have been anybody. Okay. And then, it was Zeb, because then Zeb wrote, I clicked the wrong button, sorry. I didn't want to delete the message, but edit it. Oops. And I replied, it always makes me feel better when people do that kind of thing too. They should make a film called The Wrong Button. Then Zeb wrote, because I know she just wants to hear me read this out. It's like farting. Few people would admit they do it. Another joke I wrote down for Constantine was, Donald, have you ever seen one of those new machines that can tell when a person's telling a lie? Sandy replied, seen one? I married one. There you go. And April didn't quite get it, or I'm not sure if she was just being very serious that day. One who tells when a person is telling a lie, or one who tells a lie himself or herself. Zeb replied on the BBC website, the truth and nothing but the truth. Dr. Jeff Bunn investigates the latest lie detecting technology. He discovers that the early history of the lie detector features psychologist William Marston, creator of the comic book character Wonder Woman, and an amateur magician, Leonard Keeler, who was an inspiration for the comic strip hero Dick Tracy. Maybe you'd like to hear more. And she's given a link to the podcast there. Thanks, Zeb. Okay. Zeb also wrote the English translation to the Scottish poem, but again, it's really long, so maybe we should read that out and put it on the website, because she put up the actual whole of the Ode to a Haggis, which is in Scottish, and it's got things like trenching your gushing entrails brucht like ony ditch. Are there any Scots people out there? I used to know somebody Scottish who lived in Germany. It would be much better if they read it out. You can find it online, I'm sure. Some nice kind Scotsman on YouTube will have put that whole poem up. I'll look it out and put a link to it so that you can hear it read in a proper Scottish brogue and not my pathetic attempt at one. Then Rahul Yadav wrote, Hi Ferns. Ferns. I think you meant friends, Friends, okay? Aladdin wrote, Hi Rahul, how are you? Rahul didn't reply. Oh no, Rahul had a bit of a hissy fit. Hey, what happened to my messages? Okay. Well, there was only one, and it went into a moderation queue because you're not a member on Discuss. So I wrote, Hi Rahul, don't worry, we get them. If you aren't registered with Discuss, all messages go into a queue for moderation. As I keep telling people. Yash then said, Hi, hello everyone. Hi Yash. Ale went, Hello, I'm from Chile. Perfect. You just needed oh, I see, right. Okay. No, you did put an exclamation mark. Exclamation marks get a bit overused in these chats, It's like, hello, I'm from Chile. There's no great surprise there, really. If you're going to use an exclamation mark, at least surprise me, okay? So okay, maybe I'm from Chile could be a surprise, yeah? I'm the first person here from Chile, maybe. That would be worth an exclamation mark. I'm from Chile. There's a lot of people from Chile, I'm sure, in the world. They wouldn't be that surprised to learn that they're from Chile. Use it for effect, otherwise it loses some of its meaning. Okay? Aladdin wrote, Hello yourself, Ale, and welcome to Live Chat. Yay! Don't forget to end your sentences. You got a lovely little comma in the middle there, Aladdin, which was perfect, but you didn't end the sentence with a full stop. Ooh, hashtag fail. No, it's all good. You're not in a test here, but if you were in a test, just learning to make sure every sentence is ended properly can save you lots of missed points, really. Then I wrote, Hello Chile. Hubby and I just polished off a nice bottle of Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon. Big smile. Ale wrote back, Ha ha ha. Yes, that's very Chilean of you. Can I send you a friend request on Facebook? Okay, Facebook is a proper noun, so it's always with a capital F. Now, You can you can like the page on Facebook, but really I like to get to know people on Facebook before I friend them with my personal account. I'm funny like that. I don't, this thousands of friends is just nonsense to me. So if I get to know you on Facebook or on other places like April and Poetry, oh sorry, that was hubby saying bye. Bye, see you. He's off to work. Hi ho, it's off to work he goes. He's got a proper job in a proper office. He's not quite sure what I'm doing now, to be honest, but he lets me do it, so... Well, lets me is a bit of a misnomer there. Oh, he's back. That was a short day, dear. Okay, so let's carry on. So do I friend people on Facebook that I don't know? No, I don't. If I get to know people, even if I've never met you over the years on the forum and on the network, yes, of course I'll friend you, but it's a case of it actually means something, because it means I like you, I know you, so get to know us, and maybe you'll get a friend request on Google Plus or Facebook one day. Otherwise, just like the page and interact with us that way, okay? I know it's odd, I'm an odd person, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, would I? So I wrote, hi Ale, by all means pop onto the LEN page on Facebook, that's where I hang out. Yay, hang out. Nada then wrote, hello there, capital H, Nada. I'm Nada, comma, Egyptian, comma, 25 years old. You could make that a little bit more conversational. Hi, I'm Nada. I'm Egyptian, I'm 25 years old. Then I'm looking to learn more English. Okay, I with a capital I. Looking to learn more English, English with a capital E. Okay, full stop. That's a sentence. Then he writes, or she, not sure, I'm already taking English course, but I do use it in daily life. Okay, I'm already on an English course, again English capitalized, but I do use it in daily life. Okay, really, if you're going to say but, then it should be I'm taking an English course, but I don't use it in daily life. And you've got a little frowny face, so I think you meant but I don't use it in daily life. Not sure. Aladdin wrote, hi Nada, welcome to live chat. Where do you learn English? We didn't get a reply. And I said, hi Nada, using your English is the best way to learn it. It really does convince your brain that maybe, just maybe, you're serious about it. Can't stress that enough. Use it or lose it. I'm always saying that to my students and to people who ask me how to learn English, and it's no good just consuming it. You have to engage with it. Active listening, active speaking, become a good speaker, become a good listener, and it's actually good skills for your normal life as well as your English learning life, honestly. Really, really important. And if you engage with this Spreaker conversation, to me that engagement would involve going into live chat and replying to it, responding to it the way Zeb does. So if you admire the way Zeb has learnt English and her level of English, she engages with it all the time, and it shows. I can always tell when people really engage with what we've talked about in discussions, in hangouts, in Skype sessions. They'll ask me questions about it. They'll talk about it among themselves. That's engaging with it. Turning up, listening, it's not really engaging. It's in one ear and out the other, or as in the internet, in one eye and out the other. Okay, you've got to engage with that stuff, really. So Caro wrote, hi everyone. Well, actually shouted, hi everyone! It's all in capitals. Capitals, Caro, on the internet means you're shouting. So try to mix it up. I know it's a good way of not getting corrected for not capitalising properly, but it's cheating. Aladdin wrote, hi Caro, where are you? Caro never wrote back. There you go. Then we've got another long one here. Sun wrote, where are you come from? Okay, that should be where do you come from? I think that's what you wanted to write. Zeb wrote, hi, where am I from? I'm from France. Where do I come from? Well, I'm just back from a weekend in Besançon, still in France. And Sun wrote, I come from China. So I capitalised China. It's a proper noun, name of a country. Capital C for China. Full stop. I come from China. Otherwise it's perfect. If you'd said it, no problem. But when you're writing, you have to get that tricky punctuation down. Zeb then replied, "Hi again, son. I hope I haven't confused you with my first reply. Lynn corrected my errors. I hope you were able to have a look at her message." Okay, so my message was, where do you come from equals where are you from? Where have you been equals I've just come back from a weekend in Besançon. Or, in surprise, where have you come from? So if suddenly somebody popped up from under the floorboards and looked at me and said, "Hello, Lynn," I'd go, "Where have you come from?" Okay, so it's all about intonation sometimes. Zeb then replied, "Gosh, what a lesson. Is there anywhere I can hide?" And I, tongue-in-cheek, said, let me think. There might be some obscure corner of the interwebby thingy you can tuck yourself away in. Zeb replied, "No way. Thanks." Okay, thank you for saying thank you for the correction. Sometimes I do worry that I upset people by correcting their English. That's why I only do it on the network now. And even then I can get into trouble. "Why are you correcting my English?" "Oh, because it's wrong." "Why are you here if you don't want me to correct your English?" So they tend not to make it onto the message board, by the way. So Sun wrote, "It's okay. I know what's your mean. English is more difficult to me as a Chinese. However, it's easy to a French. My English is poor." Okay, so Son, you'd write, "Nothing. It's okay. I know what you mean. English is more difficult for me as a Chinese person. However, it's easy for French people. My English is poor." Okay, you need to speak to more French people. English, by the way, capitalised E. You did it once, and you did it with French. You didn't do it with Chinese. That should be capitalised C, and English should always be capitalised as well, okay? So, son, it's not difficult. It's not easy for French people. It's not easy or difficult. It depends on the individual. There's no nationality that finds a particular language easier or more difficult. Admittedly, the problem a lot of people have from Asia, from Arabia, from other continents is if they have a different alphabet, and that's like going back to really being a child and having to learn your alphabet all over again. That's really the only thing that makes it a bit easier for some nationalities. Other than that, they've got the same struggles as you. Zeb's been learning English for a long time, and she's been engaging with English for a long time, so don't think she found it easy. She just worked hard at it, okay? So, I wrote, "Hi, son. English is easy peasy once you get past the idea that it's difficult. Don't concentrate on the negative aspects. Just start having a bit of fun with it and make communicating in English part of your daily routine, here or elsewhere." And Zeb wrote, "Hat off to you." Again, hats off to you. Okay, I think that's your favourite expression at the moment. So, hats off. Hats off to you. Hats off to them. Yeah, it's always hats. Don't ask me why. It just is, okay? Be zen about it. It's hats off to you. Oh, okay. Thank you, Lynn. Leave it at that. I know you're going to ask me, why is it hats? I can't wear more than one hat on my head. Why do you say hats? I can't convince myself to get into Chinese. Is learning English mandatory in China? And she also wrote, "Glad to meet you, son. China is so big compared to France. Have you ever had a chance to travel around your country?" Son wrote, "Yeah, China is so big that I have no chance to travel my country everywhere, but I also had to travel some spot. I am still a student, and you." Okay, so, son, yeah, China's so big that I have had no chance to travel around my country, or that I have had no chance to travel everywhere. But I also had to travel some spot. I think you mean, but I've also travelled to some areas. Okay, not some spot. I'm not sure what you mean by some spot. You can talk about spots in a place. It's a nice spot there. Oh, there's a free spot over there. We can go and sunbathe. Other than that, you wouldn't use it in that way. I am still a student, comma, and you. So, I capitalised, I'm still a student, comma, right after student, and then a space, and you, question mark. It's a very good way of, and you is a very good way of saying, what about you? And that keeps the conversation going. Conversation's two-way. Zeb wrote, "No, not a student any longer, but I'm still learning. I think we're all students." "I love travelling and work mainly to get enough money and prepare myself for the next trip." That's very true. Zeb is very well travelled. "How is life as a student in China? In the papers they often say the competition is fierce in Chinese schools." Sun wrote, French is romantic. You too. What? Zeb's romantic? Sorry, Zeb. Okay. Chinese students just studying before college, but it's different in college. China has the largest population in the world. Therefore, you can imagine how competition is fierce in China. Okay, so Chinese students just study before college, but it's different at college. Okay, maybe that's what it means. China has the largest population in the world. Therefore, you can imagine how fierce the competition is in China. China with a capital C, or therefore you can imagine how competitive it is in China, capital C. Okay. Zeb wrote, yes, the French people the French people have got this reputation for being romantic. Sometimes I wonder what it means. Yes, I wonder if French women agree that the French are romantic. Probably much moans and groans about how unromantic French men are as there is about how unromantic English men are. Okay, do you mean that only the best pupils or students are selected to get into college? What happens to you if you're not selected, if no colleges want you? Okay, we haven't had a reply there. I'd like to know as well. I think you'd go to work. You have to get a job at Zeb, like in other places. Zeb then replied, Zeb then posted, I think she heard that, she reminded herself of this when she talked about getting jiggy. By the way, be careful with getting jiggy. It can also mean to have sex. Okay, get jiggy with it. That's where it comes from. So you might not want to go up to somebody and say, hey, do you want to get jiggy? No, don't do it. Well, not unless you mean it anyway. So golden oldies get jiggy with it. And she gave a lovely link to a story about some old age pensioners who are doing this get jiggy with it dance. And my favourite quote from that was, my great-grandchildren were doing it. Then Billy came and asked me to come, and I said, no, I can't move my legs. And she said, that don't matter. We'll put you in a wheelchair. Okay, of course, that should be that doesn't matter, Billy. I hope Granny corrected your grammar. Maybe not. April then wrote, I think we'll all agree with this. Grrr, sometimes I don't know how to read the messages here, from the top downwards or from the bottom upwards. And Aladdin said, sort it by newest. Yes. You can sort newest, which means you're reading the newest reply and then it goes down, or you can sort it by oldest, and that means you're reading the old replies, old posts, and then you go up. Okay. I replied, I use newest first, but that's just because I have to. You might find it better to go to Ask Discuss you might find it better to go to Ask Discuss to let you know when there has been a reply. Okay, so in your Discuss panel, if you're a member of Discuss, you can ask it to let you know when there's a reply to something you've posted. Zeb went, I'm afraid Discuss only tells me about new messages that are replies to my own messages, or eventually when my name is mentioned in a message. Newest first seems to be the best option for most of us. And Aladdin said, indeed, the notification is a magnificent. Okay, there you don't want an article. Okay, indeed, the notification is magnificent. Full stop. Or, indeed, the notification is a magnificent idea. Yeah, so you have when you're using magnificent as an adjective for a noun. Yeah, nouns take articles a and the. Okay. It is magnificent. It is a magnificent idea. Okay? And then, let's see. Subhash, who's already posted in the lessons, said hello here. Just hi. And I'll have to explain this to you. Subhash has a very tiny little baby dressed in fluffy pink stuff as their avatar. So Zeb replied, nobody seems too young to learn English. Hi, Subhash. Englump, E-N-G-L-M-P, I have no idea, Englump, said, maybe it's short for English MP. Did you know MP means Member of Parliament? Are you a Member of Parliament? Ooh, interesting. Then Englump said, I'm pretty good in writing. I need to improve my spoken English. Okay, I'm pretty good at writing. comma, I need to improve my spoken English, English capital E, and then a full stop. Zeb wrote, I'm rather bad at writing, so I mostly speak. Yeah, the nice thing about speaking is you don't have to worry about punctuation or spelling. Yay, it's good. It's much easier than writing, you know. And yet somehow we do more writing when we're learning a language. Something wrong there. It's not what we did when we learnt our first language, is it? We didn't even know how to write. We learnt how to listen first, then we learnt how to speak, then we learnt how to read, then we learnt how to write. Maybe there's something in there for English learners. I don't know, maybe. And then I replied, well, for that you'll have to find us on Skype, Kitely, Second Life or Google+. Yeah, we do speak to you guys. You just got to find us. Come into Kitely, because Kitely's really quiet at the moment. So if you want to have a nice conversation, Kitely on a Thursday evening or Kitely on a Friday morning, you'll find me hanging around there. And at the moment on Friday morning, we're planting a garden. So... have a look on the website if you're confused. It's good practice. And then Saranya wrote, yes. Okay. Oh, I think Saranya was replying to Sun. Okay, Sun wrote, no practice, no progress. I want to make friends with you and we can help each other with our English. Meanwhile, make new friends, will you? And then Saranya wrote, yes, I think. That must be how it worked. So, Sun, no practice, no progress. Okay, no progress. Progress. Okay, I think that was just a typing error. I think you knew what you wanted to say. And then full stop, then a space after the full stop. We always have a space after punctuation. Okay, I want to make friends with you, comma, space, and we can help each other with our English, English capital E. Then you did it right, you put a full stop and a space, well done. Meanwhile, it's the start of a sentence, so capital M, comma, after meanwhile, then a space. Make new friends, comma, space, will you? Not sure that's the way you wanted to say it. Make new friends, will you? It's a little bit Yoda. Yeah? Feel the force, Luke. There is no try, only do. Sorry, I've got Yoda in my head now. Get out, Yoda. Okay, so meanwhile, why don't you make new friends? Yeah? Meanwhile, why don't you do this? Meanwhile, why don't you do that? Giving advice, okay? And yeah, Aladdin got confused by Saranya too and wrote, yes for what? And then Zeb wrote, I'll give this one. Okay, she writes stuff to hear me read it out, I swear. It's easy, Aladdin. Yes is Saranya's answer to all the questions below. Well, my guess. No, I am not reading that out. Okay. Aladdin then wrote, yes, I am care. I think you meant yes, I do care, full stop. Zeb then, you seem to have mixed up two sentences. Is it yes, I'm careful or yes, I care? Ah, Zeb, you're correcting people. Okay, so if you want to read that poem, it's ever so rude. Maybe it's not. Maybe, no, it's got the word, no, that's definitely rude once you get to that little bit at the end. Yeah, that might be about people's Facebook updates sometimes. It's amazing what people will share. But no, I'm not reading that out. That's so rude. Okay, and that's it for this week. And I think we've gone over time, probably. So I'm going to have to cut a bit back. Yep, we have. Too much to talk about. I'm going to have to upgrade my Spreaker account. I can see. So thank you for listening, and I will now go and moderate the discussion. But remember to find the text and read along as you listen. And it can really help your brain make that connection between the words written and the words spoken and the meaning behind them. And look at the corrections, think about them, engage with them. Don't just let it all flow and think, oh yeah, I understood that. You didn't understand it until you've thought about it. Okay? And get out there and practice your English. But remember, whilst you're doing it, be nice, be kind. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye.